last year with Boston when I wasn't mad when he was like, man, we're gonna go to Boston. I just asked the fans, just don't be racist.
Right.
That was fine. Like I'm like, yeah, everybody know historically that's what it is in Boston. But after he won, when he stepped on the leprechaun and then the fans started throwing, it was like, you ain't had to do that, bro. Now the fans throwing shit. Yeah. Somebody else could get hit with a bottle or some shit. Like you fucking set the shit up. You ain't had to do that.
Yeah. Kyrie be on his shit.
Nah, Kyrie definitely be on his shit. Know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, if you've been smoking rock or under a rock, you now tuned into the motherfucking Personal Party Podcast.
Cheer. I'm sorry, I had the smoke.
I thought the cough was going to take you out. I was like, yes!
I tried. My fault.
Always don't my fault me, man. You know Always caught by the wackest ad-lib in the game.
Now we need that for Rob. This is a classic.
The wackest ad-lib in the game?
We need that.
Oh, my God.
That's what you named it. That's not what the people say.
Man, whatever. Look, man, today we got more family, man. It's the family reunion, you know what I mean? I got one of my favorite journalists, favorite writers, somebody that, you know, me coming up in this game, you know, wanting the stamp of approval from the people that's respected that can make the needle move. This was one of the guys that I yearn for that respect from. Also, this is the guy that gave me my first magazine write-up. Gotta let the air horns off for that. Show and Prove Double XL. You know what I mean? Been riding with me since from day one. You know what I mean? Also, a great MC. I knew him since BK Syfe. You know what I mean? I knew him since BK Syfe. You know what I mean? Y'all know Rob Markman. But yeah, I gave it away. I got the motherfucking legendary Rob Markman in this motherfucker, man.
Hey, how the tables have turned.
How the tables have turned, bro.
Listen.
Man, honored to have you here, bro.
Nah, man, thank you for having me, man. I've been watching what you were doing. You know, some legendary episodes already at you and Facts. You know, I saw you and B-Dot recently. Just the room, just being in this room kind of feels like everything that we dreamed about when we was kids. And like actually like living and actualizing and manifesting that is dope, man. So I'm just happy to be here, bro.
Man, I'm happy to have you, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Actually, you've been on our whiteboard to get on since last year. Yeah. Now, you know, my personal thing was I gotta build this thing up just so I can approach the people that, you know, that really means something to come up here. And I feel like, you know, we laid that groundwork, and I'm like, I bet now I can hit Rob up. Right. Now I got my shit together. But
please don't just jump into his career.
Right. I was looking at you. What you mean don't jump?
I thought you was about to jump into his career. Like, I want to know where he's from.
I know
how he was raised. See, the people don't know. I read up on it. I know. The people don't know. So can we give them Rob Markman?
Right.
Go ahead, sure.
How you grew up, Rob?
Flatbush, Brooklyn.
Talk.
Yeah.
I knew that though.
St. Paul's and Crook, the block. You know, I grew up good. You know, it was a rough neighborhood, but you know, we didn't do without, man. Like my parents held it down. Both my dad just. I think I get my work ethic from him. I just watched him work so hard. So, you know, we actually had, like,
what did your parents do growing up, if you don't mind talking?
My mom she worked in education a little bit. She was mostly a stay-at-home mom. Like, she worked when she had to or when she felt like she needed to, just to have something for herself.
This was that
as,
era.
like, teacher assistant or something like that. But for the most part, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she used to babysit for all the other kids in the neighborhood. So my crib was kind of like the spot where, you know, like, it was just always a bunch of kids, you know what I'm saying? Plus my brothers and sisters. And then my dad was he worked in the labor unions to help organize labor for different, I think PEF was one of them, and then 32BJ he worked for a while, and then he had a second job in the hospital in Staten Island as like a drug counselor and stuff like that. So yeah, you know, they held it down though, and it was funny because my pops worked 2 jobs, but he was like always there. Like I marvel at it. Like I used to come home, he used to walk us to the bus stop in the morning, and then get home around 4 or 5 o'clock. We eat dinner, and then he'd take us to the park and play basketball and teach us how to shoot hoops, or take us to the comic store. Like, my dad was always like super present, and now that I got kids, I'm just like, how did he do that? You know what I mean? It was crazy.
That's
But
some
yeah,
good
yeah.
shit. You
But
Puerto Rican, right?
yeah, so Puerto Rican on my mom's side, but my mom is black. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lot of people who don't recognize the blackness
Talk about it.
within Latinos. I think in New York we get it because we see
about
it.
it.
So my whole family is black. Like, I'm like the lightest
one.
Yeah, so on my mother's side, but Puerto Rican, you know what I'm saying, culturally Puerto Rican. So grew up in the house with Spanish, the arroz con pollo, you know what I'm saying, the salsa and all
your
of that.
shit, B.
And then my dad is white, so my dad is Jewish. His family's from the Ukraine,
that's a
actually.
twist.
Shit, I
So
never
yeah,
knew that.
That's a twist.
so that's where the name Markman comes from. So, but you know, like we were kind of raised to just choose our own path. I think Puerto Rican was like the dominant culture, like Latin culture was the dominant culture in the house. So like I never really been to a synagogue. I didn't have a bar mitzvah. Like, though the Jewish rites of passage, I never kind of been through. And then when I got to choose, they let me choose my own religion. You know, they just kind of left it up to us. And so, you know, I was baptized Catholic. So, you know, it was a mix of stuff in the house. But, and then Flatbush, Brooklyn, and then being outside, my first parties were house parties, like bashments, like reggae parties, dancehall parties. Like, they didn't even play hip hop on my block.
Right.
In the 80s, you know, for
Flatbush
the
is
most
like
part. Yeah.
Jamaica. That's the Caribbean.
A lot of Jamaicans, a lot of Haitians. So it was dope. So inside the house, we had one experience, and then when we left that stoop, you know, it was the 80s, it was the 90s, it was, you know what I'm saying, it was a time.
What school you went to?
I went to PS 189 from kindergarten to 8, and then I passed the test by 5 points, and I ended up in Brooklyn Tech to go to high school.
You went to Brooklyn
I went to Brooklyn Tech.
That's crazy.
It was out of that, because I remember I tried to get into Morrow. I tried to get into all these different schools, and my grades just wasn't there. I passed the test again at Brooklyn Tech. It was out of that, or they was going to send me to E Hall, to Erasmus. So I ended up passing the test. I didn't want to go to Erasmus.
in Flatbush.
Yeah. I didn't want to go to Erasmus because I knew
that's...
it wasn't going to work out for me. It was just too close to home. It was too close to everything. That was kind of a bad influence for me.
Yeah,
I had two friends that went to Brooklyn Tech, I feel. Curtains and Numbers.
Word. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Numbers went to Brooklyn Tech?
Numbers went to Brooklyn Tech.
You had
That's
to be a
how,
smart nigga to get
you know, funny shit, Curtains introduced me to Numbers, I feel like.
Oh, that's wild. That I ain't know. Yeah, curtains are ill. I ain't seen curtains in years, man. Curtains is
funny,
ill.
I seen Curtains, I want to say, maybe last month, walking around in Soho. I'm walking one way, he's walking one way, and it was just like, oh shit, we walked in the product store and just walked around talking shit. But shout out to Curtains.
Shout out to curtains,
Yeah,
man.
Curtains.
Shout out to Numbers, too.
Man, shout out to Numbers too. Shit, I need to hit Numbers. I ain't checking in a minute.
Because I remember you from smoking number days.
Number days.
Running
yeah.
around, J Hatch.
Yeah.
Showcases.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was running around with my man Shake. Shout out to J Hatch, too. I know he's going through some health issues right now. So
man,
we wish
get
you well, brother. Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
You know, it's good that you stopped me with the foundation. Usually, you know, I go right into my shit because I be knowing. So I guess you've been doing your homework and shit. Is there anything else you want to cover before I get into
We'll
my
get
shit?
into it. Go ahead and handle your business,
Okay,
man.
cool. I'm just, you know.
You be on your I'm
They
saying,
said, what?
he jumped straight into what he mentioned. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, they don't know. They be in my inbox too.
That's good too, because I know a lot of people. It'd be funny. I'd be seeing just a lot of people debating on what my background is, like, because it's just so ambiguous. The last name is Markman. I look Puerto Rican. You know what I'm saying? I'm half black in that regard, and like people just don't know what box to put me in. And I see on social media, a lot of people speculate, and it drive people crazy. And a lot of times I don't say nothing. I just be like, man, let you drive yourself crazy trying to. I know who I am. You know what I'm saying? Right. So.
And he from Flatbush.
Yeah, so.
The Bushes.
That's legit.
Legit. Right, so, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, you started out as an MC before you started putting the pen to the paper on some journalist shit.
Yeah, aspiring. I thought that was going to be my path. I always wanted to be an artist. I knew I wanted to be in music just growing up. Again, my mom was the type who went to the record store. I won't say every week. She wasn't that, but like once or twice a month and come home with a bunch of records. You know, my family, my grandmother's brother is a famous Latin jazz musician by the name of Willie Bobo. So, you know,
Willie Bobo,
we
yeah.
used to have him hanging up, you know what I'm saying? Like his picture, he died when I was young, but his records always played in the house. His pictures always hung in the house. And then his son, Eric Bobo, is a member of Cypress Hill. So that's my cousin.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's my cousin. So
That's crazy.
there was always kind of music within the family, and it always kind of, you know, just felt really close. So that's what I wanted to do. So I wrote my first rhyme when I was 12. You know, by the time
You don't remember?
13, 14, nah.
I always act.
Yeah, I can't. I don't remember it. But 13, 14, then it moves to start battling when I'm in high school, battling people at lunch, then starting to battle people, you know, venturing outside your hood, venturing outside your school, battling in front of Fat Beats, inside of Fat Beats, back when Wetlands, they used to have battles.
Shout out to the Wetlands.
Yeah,
I was in the
you know
Wetlands a lot.
Little hook.com, this is like 2000. So my first studio session ever, I'm still in high school, Plain Pat. Plain Pat has my first demo.
Wow. I had Ferris Bueller over here the other day. That's so
Wow.
crazy you said Plain Pat.
Yeah,
That's
Plain
crazy.
Pat. And this is before, and you know, he took off and you know, good music and Kanye and all that. So, and every time I'd speak to Pat, which is not even often, we just kind of lost touch. But he'd be like, I still got that tape. I'm just waiting for the right time to release it. And I pray that he never put that shit out. But yeah, I always had aspirations of being an artist before anything. And then the journalism thing just happened. It just kind of fell into my lap. And I was like, oh, we could get paid for this? Okay.
How did it kind of fall into your lap?
Well, I always had I was always interested in media, right? So I went to school, went to Hunter College, and media studies was my major. But I never, it's funny, even though that was my major, I wasn't thinking a lot about my future. So I never envisioned myself, I never felt like I could fit in or get a job at the New York Times. And I never really desired it. But I didn't think that hip hop journalism, or music journalism, that you could really eat off of that and make a career.
So you just took media,
Just because I liked it, I was like, it was the thing that interests me the most. Like how messages are disseminated and how things are crafted to the people and stuff like that. So, and then, you know, one of my great friends, one of my best friends, Tim, who I went to high school with, we went to college together. He graduated a year earlier than me and started interning and started working at Complex. This is like before Complex is a website. There may be 4 issues in, and he was like, yo, you want to write this album review? Because he knew I could write.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we had classes together. He was like, yo, you could really write. I would always get A's on my... I sucked at math, and I was always good at writing. Yo, I need somebody to write this Jadakiss review, man. You want to take a crack at it? And we'll pay you $300. And he was like, we're going to send... Interscope is going to send a car to pick you up, drive you to Yonkers, listen to the album, and then wait for you and then take you back home to wherever you need to go. I was just like...
That's ill shit right there.
I was going to do it for free.
Right.
Like, $300, hell yeah. And at that point, I think the most I ever made rapping, I made like $500 a show. On one show. On one show. Not $500 a show. One show I got paid $500.
But that's good. You got paid as a rapper.
But I knew it wasn't consistent. And I was
Right.
like, oh, I could get these $300 more consistently. Let me do this. But yeah, he did that Jadakiss album review. Went up there to Yonkers. Jada played me the album.
What album was it?
The second album. So Kiss of Death. Kiss of Death with Y and
Kiss of Death.
and you know, came back, wrote the review, and you know, it published, and my name started getting around. The Source call, Vibe call. You know, I think Tim kind of was like, yo, you should check out my man. But I wrote a Ghostface Pretty Tony review, and Vibe was my second piece. Then the Source call, Boo Rosario from the Source call. Then Double XL started hitting me up, and you know, I started getting this freelance money as a journalist back in the print era. Yeah.
That freelance money as a journalist had to be refreshing. Just to know that you know what I mean, you can get that just from your expert opinion.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? The dollar word era was a strong era.
Was it really that, $1 word?
It was $1 word, and that was like for reviews. Like the guys who were writing features and cover stories were getting more probably. But I came in at $1 word, and my day job I was working in the mailroom, and then I would do these write for these magazines. My first interview was for Scratch Magazine. I had to interview Easy Mo B over the phone for the first issue of Scratch Magazine.
That's crazy.
And then they also sent me to interview Alchemist. So Alchemist was my first in-person interview.
Wow.
Yeah. Shout out to Uncle Al.
Shout out to Alan the chemist, man.
Yeah, man.
So, when did you land the job with Double XL?
It took a year. So I started freelancing.
It was MTV first, huh?
No, it was Double XL
Double
first.
XL
It was actually Scratch Magazine first. So what happened was I started freelancing in 2004. I had graduated college. I had a degree, but I didn't really have a full-time job. But I was working in the mailroom somewhere, right across the street from Hot 97. And so I'm freelancing from 2004 to 2007, but I'm trying to get a full-time job in the industry, but nothing was cracking. And shout out to Brendan Frederick, who I actually work with at Genius now. He's the chief content officer at Genius. Hired me for Scratch Magazine. Like, nobody wanted to take a chance on me, and he took a chance. Yeah, he took a chance on me and brought me into Scratch Magazine. And so I left the mailroom. The funny thing was, I was making less money for the mailroom. I was making $38,000 a year working in the mailroom, right? And then I was probably making about $15,000 a year doing freelance work. You know what I'm saying? So that's almost $50,000 a year. Mailroom and freelance. When I went to Scratch, it was $35,000 a year, and I had to be exclusive. I couldn't freelance anywhere else. So I took a pay cut to go there, and I had a kid. You know what I'm saying? I had my son. My first son was born, and you know, it was tough. But I knew there was more of a future in hip hop and in journalism than it was for me in the mailroom. So I kind of had to take that step backwards financially to go forward. Then what happened is about 4 or 5 months later, Scratch Magazine folded, and I'm out of a job again. Yeah. So, and then the week I found out that Scratch was folding, I found out I had my second son on the way. So it was like, what are we gonna do?
B.
And I remember, so if you remember Scratch Magazine was Harris Publications too.
Absolutely.
It was the sister magazine to Double XL. So Brendan was the editor-in-chief, but Elliot still oversaw it. So I knew I was getting laid off that day because Elliot never asked. I didn't really know Elliot like that. We might have talked once or twice in passing. And I came back from lunch and they said, yo, Elliot wants to see you in his office. And I was like, he ain't never called for me before. Yeah. I know what this is. And I went in there, and Elliot was like, yeah, we folding the magazine. We got to let you go. They kept all the staff at Scratch Magazine. They were able to find them jobs at Double XL except me.
Oh, shit.
And one other guy, Paul Cantor. Paul Cantor was
Paul
part-time.
Cantor. Shout out to my man Paul, man.
Paul was part-time, and then it was me. I was full-time, but they couldn't keep me on. You know, it was like a seniority thing. But Elliot was like, yo, just don't take a job nowhere else. I'm going to get you on Double XL. Just give me some time. And just don't go nowhere. You know, and I was like, nah, bro, it was that big shit. I was like, I got kids to feed, bro. So if something pop up, I'm taking it. He was like, I feel you. He was like, well, if Vibe calls and offers you a job, or the Source or whatever, like, give me a call first and see what I could do. And you know, that's how it kind of started. And 3 months later, so this is how I get to Double XL. 3 months later, Elliot is like, all right, I want to bring you to Double XL. And I was like, all right, bet. So I think he called me on a Friday and was like, yo, let's just go to lunch Monday and make it official, but I got a spot for you. And then that Monday, I got the all hip hop alert, and he had got fired from Double XL. So I was like, damn, I guess I don't get the job. But I guess they had put my name in the air. Maybe he put my name in the air. I don't know who put my name in the air. And the staff, because I was freelancing for Double XL at the time, they still needed roles to fill. Elliot wasn't there. A couple of people just weren't there anymore. So, when, a couple of weeks after Elliot left, they still brought me up and interviewed me, and then it was like, yo, you got the job. So I got at Double XL maybe about 2008.
Wow. I didn't know that Elliot. Well, I remember him working at Scratch, and I know you worked at Scratch, but I didn't put those two together.
He kind of oversee. It was really Brendan that was doing the work, but I guess it was, and I'm not quite sure what it was, but I think it was Elliot's responsibility. So Elliot might have been like editorial director, so he just oversaw it just to make sure nothing went wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, because Brendan was really young, but Brendan was the editor-in-chief at the time that I was there. There were a couple of editor-in-chiefs before him. Jerry Barrow was editor-in-chief. My man Andre Torres was editor-in-chief before that. But when I was there, it was Brendan. And Elliot just kind of oversaw it just to make sure I think everything went right.
Right. So 2008, you land the gig at Double XL officially as a writer. Now, I want to say this year, because they had, I don't want to call it a freshman cover, but they had a cover before with a lot of the up and coming rappers. I feel like Slaughterhouse was on it.
Plies, Joel Ortiz, Papoose,
that whole flurry of artists. And then 2008 was the year that the internet artists.
Yeah, I think that was and that Daytwan was the editor-in-chief at that time.
Right, shout out to Daytwan.
Daytwan Thomas. And I think it was, I don't know if Elliot, because I remember I was at Scratch when they did that other cover with Papoose and Plies and Joel and Crooked. I don't know if they Saigon.
Saigon, where Giddy was on that.
I don't know if they intended it to be a yearly thing. He may have. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But then the next year, it was clear, like, yo, we should do this every year, and then that was the cover with Asher Roth, Currency, Kid Cudi, Mickey Fax, Corey Guns, you know what I'm saying, Wale, the good brother Wale, so we put that.
Now
together.
you had a lot to do with that cover as far as picking the artists, like, and I know it was a collective.
It was
thing.
a group thing.
It was a group thing, but I'm just speaking from the angle where I know that you gave Mickey the call. Right.
Yeah, and it wasn't so much that necessarily I picked Mickey. Like, it was like, it was a group thing. It was, but, you know, then it was like, all right, well, who has a relationship with who? Who could reach out to who could get who on the phone? And we divvied it up like that. Like, I was definitely an advocate for Mickey. What people don't know, I wonder if Daytwan remember this, but we was trying to get Jay Electronica on that cover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think he turned it down for whatever, because it was right after Katrina too. I can't speak to why he turned it down, but and then Ace Hood ended up getting that spot. Oh, yeah. Which to work out, I think Ace Hood was controversial that year. Like, people, like Ace Hood maybe didn't fit because a lot of them were like now right
brown artists.
Yeah, but they were on now right. There was a lot of presence on the internet, and Ace Hood maybe wasn't, but when you look at the success that Ace Hood had, that's a successful, it's a successful ass career. Like, it was like, I was like, man, that was a good pick. And I remember us getting shit for that pick, but I was like, man, Ace Hood worked out for, and say what you want. It's definitely not the same, but he just dropped the mixtape. He still be spitting, man.
Really?
I respect Ace Hood a lot. Yeah. For what he did.
Ace took his flow too. The game took his flow. I ain't gonna hold you, man.
You always
I hustle hard flow, we talk about that shit. Even Florida nigga, you already.
But yeah, that was a dope cover. That was a dope shoot. Again, controversy. Like, but then we realized, that's what we was like. Yo, we had like, but I knew where the game was going. Just being tapped in, I'm like, yo, we need to. I always heard, and I never knew what the numbers were because they would never. I was just starting out. I was the associate music editor at the time, so they didn't share all the business with me. But I always heard that cover didn't sell. Like, it wasn't like a newsstand, and I think that's what people don't realize, at least in those days. From a newsstand, I could put one big picture of 50 Cent, and you could see it from 10 feet away. That's 50. Oh, I got to get that, as opposed to 10 people on the cover and everybody's a little small. Who is that? What is that? Da-da-da. So I always heard that it didn't sell from a newsstand perspective. But what I did know, and the energy that I did feel, is what that did on the internet. How that went viral. I remember I was going home after the shoot, and shout to Sav and Steve O, best of both offices.
Wow.
They had leaked some footage from the thing, so it started to get out who was on the cover. And we realized how crazy it was going. And eventually we asked them, yo, take it down. Let us roll this shit out. But, it was a good litmus test. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, that was an interesting shoot, man. But definitely I think that kind of started the freshman energy. You know what I'm saying? That carried on for years. And I was there for a couple of freshman covers. I was really proud of the ones that I was a part of. The next one after that was with Nip.
And YG.
And no. YG was after that. Yeah, no.
He wasn't on the cover with Nip?
After the Currency, Wale, Asher Roth cover, Kid Cudi was Nip, Cole, Big Sean, Freddie
yeah.
Gibbs, J Rock, Pill was on that cover, and a couple of others. And then after that was Meek Mill, Kendrick, YG, Mac Miller, Big
Big
Crit,
Crit, yeah.
Fred. Rest in peace, Fred. So I had fun. I was involved with those 3 covers.
And
That's ill.
at that time, what was the thought process in picking those artists? Like, was it a strategy, or was it just like what was hot?
It was strategic. It was also what was hot. I think. First of all, if there's 10 people on the cover, and I can only speak for that time, and I can only speak for myself, right, and what I saw and what I witnessed and what I put into it, you're not gonna go 10 for 10. The industry's just not set up for 10 artists to come in a year and have successful as careers. It's just not gonna happen.
You talking?
But I think we tried. I think it was always, yo, let's try
Is
to
there
go 10
any
for 10.
artists that you feel you could have put on the list and you did it? That blew up.
We could have put a lot, or more so. Are there any artists? I think that maybe we should have. Like looking back,
you should have. Or you fought for and didn't make. However.
Who did I fight for and didn't make it? I don't remember fighting for anybody. I remember fighting hard for Wiz. Wiz actually made it. I remember there was a big debate about Wiz at the time. But Wiz actually made it. I think I was in the meeting. I'm like, man, we don't put Wiz on this shit. We're going to look so stupid. I quit.
Ha!
And I don't know if I was in a position to do that. Waka should have made the cover and didn't. And I should have went hard for Waka, and I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Waka should have made that cover. I could have went hard. I was actually against it, and I was maybe clouded. You know what I'm saying? Because he had Let's Do It and Hard in the Paint, like. But it was like all of Deb's artists was on the cover. Like it was like OJ the Juice Man, like Warner, like that was one of the times when it started to get political.
Right.
Like when it was just like, yo, one label has too much input on this, like what's going on. But Waka should have been on that cover. Somebody, I don't know if we talked about it, but looking back at it, I don't know if he was considered at the time. I can't remember, but Max B could have been on that cover, the cover with Asher. Obviously, Drake is the one that everybody wishes they had and missed, and Nicki, and you know what I'm saying? You know, when Drake said the fans of these freshmen is about to get iffy.
That's a fact.
Like he wasn't lying. But Drake was like, it was like a weird time when I was like, damn, we should have put Drake was and I was up on Drake's shit, but I think we chose the cover in like August and then started putting the plans together. Because the magazine, it take months to plan. I forget the timeline, but Mick always talks about this. Mick talked about this on this podcast. I told him Drake should have been on it. All right, bro.
He did though.
I should have swapped y'all. We should have just did a swap. Nah, but Mick was definitely hot as hell at that time. But when Drake dropped Ransom with him and Wayne, I said, oh my God. This just the way they was flowing back and forth. I love that record, but and I'm not saying it wasn't all on me. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a committee shit. But obviously, if you could put Drake on
out
that
of
cover.
all Young Money artists, only Little Twist made the list.
Twist made it.
Did
Yeah.
Tiger make the list? Nah,
Tiger didn't make the list.
He was too big at that.
Tiger
time.
had blown up because he had the Coconut record, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Corey maybe, but Guns
Corey
wasn't. He wasn't with Young Money at the time.
Yeah, he wasn't.
He wasn't with Young. Like that happened later. So look, it's obvious. And I don't know. I'm only speaking for me, right? Like Vanessa, you got somebody else on the staff. They're gonna say something different, or they may say something different. But yeah, you missed some. Like I think you just do the best you can. The plan was to always just give people light and to, or at least for me, I was like, yo, like make a new generation of artists fall in love with Double XL again. So when they get big to where they need to be, they remember when and they come back and they want to fuck with the magazine. This is outside of Double XL, but what happens with a lot of artists is, listen, man, I did a lot of artist first interviews. I'm gonna keep it so tall with you.
All right, talk about it.
Yeah, talk about it.
At various, whether it was Double XL, whether it was MTV, whether it was Genius, and it's something that happened with artists when they get big, like
They don't reach
they'll
your
do
hand back down.
they'll do the GQ before they do you, or the New York Times, or the whatever the prestige is. You know what I'm saying? So, it's hard. So, part of that was like, yo, let's really kind of show artists love and put our name on the line early. And as a journalist, I've done that my whole career. If I have some light and I can share it, like, let me share it. And that's how you build community, man. You give somebody a shot and y'all build up together,
That's a fact. You gave me my first MTV shot too. I forgot all about that.
What was it? Was it THC?
Was it THC? I think it was THC.
It might have been
Word,
THC.
It was THC.
Yeah.
Facts.
I had just got there.
You had just got there
I had
from
just
Double
got
XL.
there, yeah.
That's a fact.
You was like, maybe if I did 5 interviews before I reached out to you, it was a lot. I remember Nori was my first interview when I got to MTV.
It's crazy.
And they couldn't believe that I put that together. I was like, because when I got to MTV, Prodigy had just dropped his book. And you remember the whole Rest in Peace P.
Everybody was at an uproar.
Everybody was at an uproar, and he had the whole thing about Nori and shooting and whatever. And so I got Nori to react to it. And I never forget. Yo, Nori, you read this book? So Nori went off. But I was at MTV, so I cleaned up. I didn't put all the parts of what Nori said. It was an article, so I didn't have to use the whole thing. I wanted to catch the gist of a couple of quotes. And I remember Nori was like, man, you made me sound like Martin Luther King in this shit, man. I want to be on my Malcolm X shit. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like,
did you ever write anything negative about an artist or anything that you felt you was just sharing your true feelings and they disliked it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I've never kind of been a negative person. Every time, particularly with album reviews, right? Because when I was at MTV News, I was just reporting the news. Here's the facts. This is what happened. Yeah, it's been a couple of those. I remember. Shout out to Shine. It never printed, but I wrote an album review. I didn't like Shine's second album, The Godfather Buried Alive, and I know Shine loves that album. I know he's super proud of that album. But I was such a fan of the first Shine album. I was just like, man, this ain't it. And I had written that for The Source, and they was like, man, we can't run this. The Source didn't even run it. So
they didn't run it?
Yeah, they was like, yo, we can't run this. So, but Shine. I told Shine about that years later. So he never beat. But I remember I did a Lloyd Banks album review for The Rotten Apple, the second album, and somebody from G Unit. It wasn't Banks, because I had told Banks.
That's
the
third album.
Nah, The Rotten Apple is the second one.
Second?
Yeah, it's the second one. That's the one because there was a leaked version that was fire, and then what came out was different. And I gave it an L. It wasn't even, but at that point, G Unit was on fire, so I think everything they was doing was like excel and better. And one of the A&Rs from G Unit ran up on me, and I was a little pissed because I was a lot pissed because I was with my niece. My niece, it was like 15, 16 at the time, and we was in the hotel. So I was in the hotel going to interview Pitbull. I took my niece with me, and they saw me in the lobby and kind of. It ain't get crazy, but definitely, yeah. And so I told my niece, hey, go by the concierge, just stay over there, you could. And they didn't like the review, but I was like, yeah, fam, I told Banks what the review was, so Banks heard it from me before, whatever. And so I'm like, what are you talking about? So it ain't amount to nothing.
Do
it was
you
just
understand where they coming from as an artist, being an artist yourself? If somebody was to write something like that about you,
nah. Because you got to take it. Once you put your art into the world, it's not yours anymore. Like
right.
I've seen everything in the world written about me now that I'm putting out art. I remember one time, I tell you, I didn't write the review, but I was the editor on it. Mano disagreed. Mano didn't like the review on his first album. If Tomorrow Never Comes, right? What was the name of the first album, I believe. And so he came up to Double XL and argued about it. And me and him argued about it, and we ain't see eye to eye, but there's always been love with Mano. And I remember when I put my first album out, I had the night my shit came out, I ran into Mano at Julon, and he was like, "Oh, so you rapping now?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Your shit better be fire." Because you gave my shit. He ain't forget about that review. And I couldn't be mad. I said, "Yo, you right, man. Listen, man, if you listen to my shit, if you don't like it, you know, Mano be popping on Instagram. Talk shit. Like, talk your shit. Like, what can you do? Like, you can't be mad. Because whenever I wrote a review, I always try to write out of, it was never like an attack on the artist. It would be like, I don't like this music is not hitting for me, and this is why the music was. I never tried to attack somebody's character or persona, but, you know, I try to give an honest critique. Or as best I could. So, you know, I can't be mad when I've seen album reviews where people critique me and I wasn't mad. It's when the shit gets personal and they start attacking your character and your thing and will be like, yo, you ain't even listen. But, you know, once you put your art out there, it ain't yours no more.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Because whatever anybody will get.
Now, we was talking earlier about how artists are stepping in the seat of journalism now.
Yeah.
So, how you feel about that?
I think that's fire. I think, you know, because I think, well, one thing too. Well, you know, it's like boxing, right? A lot of boxing commentators, or Stephen A. Smith, or like never having picked up a basketball, and never gotten it, or Max Kellerman, who was amazing, never gotten into a boxing ring. It's just a certain perspective that only a Roy Jones can understand, or Lennox Lewis can understand because they've done it before. So I think it's important in whatever you do to have that perspective. So seeing artists like Smoke step into media, I think is dope. Seeing Nori, you know, step into it, like I think it's dope. So, you know, I'm for it. But, you know, now a lot of them too get to see the shit that we went through.
Exactly.
as media, because I kind of feel like there was a time when rappers were like, I don't think they seen, even though we come from the same place, right? Like, I come from Flatbush, Brooklyn. Like we literally come from the same environments. Like, you know, B-Dot, I saw B-Dot up here talking about, you know, B-Dot came from Jamaica, you know, Southside Jamaica. Come from the same environments. I don't know if artists kind of looked at us as the same, or like if we came from the same communities or had the same experiences.
Got you.
And there were a bunch of artists, like, you know, like media was corny for a minute, or they dubbed it as corny. And, you know, now you seeing some of the rappers up there. It's like, oh, see, now y'all see what it is. Y'all see the shit y'all got to do to get these fucking views.
That's a fact, but it go hand in hand, though. Because, like, rappers need media just as much as media need the rappers.
For me, I always saw it as a community. Like media was just an extension of the culture.
Right.
When we were running it, when we were in these seats, when you could tell that somebody of the culture was reporting on the culture. So yeah, we need that the same way we need the DJs, the same way, you know what I'm saying? Like, or it works hand in hand. So to me, it was always just this hip hop community that we was building, this music community that we were building, you know? But, you know, I don't know that everybody kind of seen it like that, but this new wave of artists kind of taking control of telling their own narratives and their own story, I think it's dope. Like,
it's Instagram.
Yeah. You know, I saw like Nori's Nas interview. I remember hitting him. I'm like, yo, listen, I know who I am. I'm one of the best at this shit of all time.
Talk your shit.
And I know who I am. I saw Nori's interview with Nas. Yo, I couldn't have done that like you. And I called him. It was like, yo, bro, the way you did that shit, I couldn't have done that. There's nobody in the world who could have done that interview the way that Nori did that interview with Nas. And you got to give it up.
Because they was on the court together?
Yeah, they got a rapport, like body in the trunk. Like not like Nori know where the skeletons in the closet, where the bodies is buried. They know the same people. There's a mutual respect. Like if you seen Nas, and I've never had the Nas. Nas is one of my favorites, and I never had the long, like, if you give me the time and the space, I've interviewed Nas before, but never the long sit down, hour long. I will destroy it, I guarantee you. But if you watch Nas, and if you know even Nas just a little bit, he's guarded. Nas is not one to just open up and spill his life story to you. You know what I'm saying? But with Nori, he looked real comfortable in the way they were just going back and forth. It was an amazing energy. I think it took for somebody that he respected in the same field to pull that out of him. So I'm a fan of that. Like, how could you hate that?
Why you think I don't like Nas?
Cause I'm wild. Cause I don't watch. Oh, I said that on the.
Yo, I was thinking about that.
I watched the show before, right?
No. I fuck with Nas. I just think Jay-Z's better than Nas?
Jay-Z is my favorite rapper.
Right.
Jay-Z is my favorite artist, period. I think, but I just love Nas's perspective. Even me as an artist, I think I'm more, or I aspire to be, because now this sounds like real fucking egotistical, but I'm more Nas than Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I pattern myself, or I use a lot of the shit that I learned listening to Nas.
You fall under the Nas tree.
Yeah, I think. You know what I'm saying? Somebody could hear me and be like, nah, bro, like.
Tupac or Biggie?
I'm from Brooklyn, so it's big. Yeah, but
because you be rocking a bandana, so
yeah.
I had to ask you why.
but I fucked with Pac. Like, growing up in that era, that I had the Strictly for My Niggas album. Like, bought it.
You had that?
Absolutely.
Nah, I ain't have that.
Absolutely.
I'm
like,
be honest.
Like,
I don't feel like nobody was fucking with Pac until like at least like Me Against the World.
Nah, I had that. Like Keep Your Head Up and I Get Around was like the biggest song. Like, even just growing up in New York, like Hot 97 played those.
I feel like the songs were big. I don't
right.
Feel like
so I fuck with the songs, so that made me want to get the album. And then the album also had one of my top 5 favorite Pac songs of all time is Holla If You Hear Me, which was also on the Above the Rim soundtrack. So
I was just watching that today. That's crazy.
So I'm just like, I'm like that 5 Deadly Venoms.
That shit was
Papa
West Coast.
song.
That was a West Coast album for West Coast soundtrack for East Coast movie.
Yeah, Above the Rim, right? Because Death Row had the soundtrack. But I was fucking with Pac, and I was already a Pac fan. Like, seeing Juice, I'm like, how could you not be a Pac fan?
Nah, yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but shit got. And then when we were kind of forced to choose as fans, it's like, well, I'm from Brooklyn, you're big. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. But I remember the first time I heard Hit 'Em Up.
Explain that.
That shit. First of all, the shit. I was like, yo, this shit is hard. Like that's the front. Like, you couldn't even front on that record, but
I
it's
was
like,
throwing up W's. I can't help. I can't
I ain't going that far.
W's.
I ain't gonna hold. I said it was whack first time I heard it. I was upset.
I was upset.
I
was upset at it. Like, I couldn't believe he took it there. Like I think without Hit 'Em Up, we don't get Ether, right? Like, I think, and credit to Ice Cube, because Ice Cube got real disrespectful on No Vaseline. Yeah. But Hit 'Em Up took the diss record to a new level of disrespect. It did. Like this really then stood for disrespect.
Yeah.
And it was no holds barred after that. You know what I'm saying? That listen to something like Cam, I think in his diss records have some of the most disrespectful lines of all. Like, we used to hang out with you on Mother's Day because your mother's dead. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, B? Like, that's crazy.
That's
like,
old Killer. I would love to. I gotta talk to Killer about that. He said that.
Your daughter R. Kelly, her face, like, it was all types of wild shit that. But
Cam was wild.
And look, and also,
I had you waiting in the blistering cold for a bogey, and I just said no.
That Stan Smith shit was so disrespectful. But I think that starts with Pac. I think if we don't get hit, I think Hit 'Em Up like opened the possibilities of what these records could really be. So I thought it was a dope record, but it was like, nah, though. But he went too far.
He did go too far. I'm like, oh, you're gone too far, Biggs. But at the same time, a lot of people felt Who Shot You was for Pac. Right now, contrary to whoever's beliefs, whether it is or it wasn't. Around the time of events, everything kind of matched up to be. Even if Big had the song before it happened, right? It was kind of like, boom. And then, Big still had his lines that he wasn't, like, darting them, but he, these fucking maniacs put my name in raps.
Like that
what part the game is that? You know what I mean? Like, Big, I love the way Big was throwing his shit. You know what I mean? Because he was like, acknowledging it, but at the same time he was like, man, fuck that shit, I'm bigger than that.
Not making a big deal
but I'm
of
still gonna if you listening, you still gonna catch me.
But that's the rap shit. Like, I mean, obviously you know this. Like, you probably got darts for certain people that the public don't catch. But when you see that person, you and I know what's going on.
Exactly.
You know what that was. And I didn't really quite feel that until I started getting into it, because I got a couple of those myself where it's like, people be like, yo, I didn't even know you and son had a problem, but it'd be a line or something. Yeah, he heard that. That's for him. You know what I'm saying?
Niggas is listening. But that's the best way to get it. Now, this is great dialogue too, because we gonna go all over the place. What's your favorite interview you've done so far? I know it's hard, but you
It's
gotta
tough.
have your favorites because you didn't talk to a lot of the goats.
Yeah,
So.
it's tough, and it changes a lot. I'm gonna say the Kendrick Taylor All the Dice was big, but I was high as fuck that night, so I'd be lying if I said I remembered it because he just put it out in snippets. Two, I'd have to say two out of two, right? For different, but I think Kendrick Lamar, when I interviewed him for MTV for To Pimp a Butterfly, is just the way that interview continues to live on, and people still hit me up about it to this day. And then when I interviewed Mariah Carey for Genius,
Yeah, that's crazy.
because that's the only interview, like, we did that in front of an audience, and my mom came. Like, so I got my mom out the crib. Like, I remember
That's
my mother
Mariah.
buying the first Mariah. I told you my mother used to live in the record store buying the first Mariah album, like, putting me on to that. So that was important to me to have my mom there, because I think all my musical aspiration comes from her feeding that to me. Yeah.
That's ill.
That's super.
So
yeah.
fast.
And then it's Mariah.
Yeah, it's
Mariah was
Mariah.
cool as shit too, man.
I heard she down to earth.
She was mad. Like I when I first, because I had met her a little bit before the interview, and she was cool. And then, but you always hear like diva this, diva that. All them stories I heard, I didn't hear none of that. I just, she's obviously a superstar, but I'm like, yo, she's just a regular person. Like, she's mad chill. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, she was
Nah,
super down
Dame
to earth.
always tell me cool Mariah stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How cool Mariah was and shit.
Yeah,
Well, how cool she is.
yeah, man.
You know
Shout out to
what I mean? So
Mariah,
shout
man.
out to Mariah. That's dope. Fucking alright. So it's good. You giving me my good segues to go into from MTV going into Genius. Now, my first interaction with Genius, I forgot the first guy's names that was over there. Oh man.
Maybe Sean, was it with Sean Sotero or Mabu? Maybe one of the co-founders.
Man, it's so fucked
Nicole
up, man.
was over
It's
there.
so many fucking pounds ago. It was fucking. I remember going to an apartment in Williamsburg,
They had the
in
apartments.
this high rise, like beautiful place, and they were giving me the breakdown of what Genius was,
Right.
and I feel like I did one of the first annotations on Genius. For my own shit, and they gave me my own personal verified account, and you know, to me it was a big deal because I seen the vision, right? And then a couple months later, this thing starts really taking off, the visibility of it, and then the news headlines come across my phone that they just hired one of my brothers
Yeah.
to be the guy over there,
Yeah.
right? So immediately it gave it more validity in the eyes of the culture and for me as well, because now I got a familiar face that done been he's covered pretty much everything culturally during that time span. So for
Yeah.
you to go there, it was an instant stamp, right?
Yeah.
So going over to Genius and leaving, not really leaving the writer world, because you'll always be a writer, but leaving that traditional way of writing journalism to go to this conglomerate of Genius. What was that transition
Well,
like?
it wasn't a conglomerate. It was a, you know
Well, it
what
was
I'm
the
saying?
idea.
Yeah. It was a big idea.
Right.
I had been blessed, like, because it was similar when I left Double XL. Print journalist, like, I was just getting into the internet. I didn't know HTML. Like, I learned a little bit of that. And when I went to MTV was all digital at the time. I worked on the digital side and a little bit on the TV side, because I knew that print. I was like, oh, this print thing ain't. We saw Vibe magazine fall and then come back, and I was like, nah, this print thing is a little shaky. So I went to MTV. Now, being at MTV, I felt like it was at a time when there was nothing left for me to do at MTV. I didn't feel like I was going to get any other opportunities except the opportunity to do everything that I did already again. Like I felt like I had hit a ceiling at MTV. And Genius called, and the first time they called me was like, yo, would you come would you be willing to come over here? I was like, man, and do what? Fuck out of here.
That New York nigga kicking fast.
Like it was really like, yo, stop playing on my phone, dog. Like, what are we doing? And he called back again, and I was like, well, just come to the office, check it out, like da da da. And when I met with Tom and Alon, who are the co-founders, like I seen the vision. Like and when I seen it, I seen everything that it could become. And what we talked about early on during that first session, the interview, whatever you want to call it, I was like, yo, I want to make Genius the new MTV. Not necessarily a cable network, but a brand synonymous with music where artists can come and, you know what I mean? And that was the mission. So I was the first hire over there for what was called the content department at the time. Shit was trending on Twitter all day. Like, that shit was crazy. And then after that, they brought in my man a couple months later, my man Brendan, who I told you, who hired me at Scratch Magazine.
Wow.
So he hired me at Scratch, and then here I am interviewing him at Genius to come in and essentially be my boss. But, you know, and so he came in and you know, together with the team that was built, man, there was a lot of like great hires on the video side and stuff like that. We started building this thing that really meant something to people, and a brand that, you know, I believe is now synonymous with music, and artists and quality. So I'm super proud of that. And, you know, like leaving MTV at the time, I just kind of saw the end of the road. I was like, oh, I'm not, there's not anything for me to grow. And then when I get to Genius, you know, I'm an executive now. Like I'm a VP over there. Like, I don't know if that was gonna happen at MTV. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. And you know, Rap Genius got me in a little trouble one time. My kid's mother, she fucking Googled a song because she wanted to get the exact lyrics so she could quote me. Shout out to Chanel. She's always on my shit. Damn. So that's funny. So shout out to Rap Genius too.
Does that change the way that you write now? Knowing that there's people who will decipher every single thing.
But, you know, I loved it. What I said to her is, you know, do you think Arnold Schwarzenegger really killed these people when he's Terminator? Like, you know, it's like, it's art, but at the same time, I'm writing a journal. Right. It's my thoughts. Sometimes it's not really what it is. Right. You know, but it's me elevated times whatever it is. Right. Shut the fuck up. Because what she said to me was, fuck out of here, nigga. Everything you say is real, bro. Like, like I'm fact checking everything you say. Everything you say is real. So why wouldn't that be real?
Right. Yo, is that why these like these music platforms, all of them got read the lyrics with the songs and all of that?
Word. Like Apple now has. Apple, I now,
you can
know,
just click on and just.
That's funny because every time I turn in an album, and I know, don't you, like every time we turn shit in, they want our lyrics to go. So do you think that was a correlation from what Genius is doing?
Yes, absolutely yes. Okay. Genius actually has a partnership with Apple.
Oh shit!
So where we supply we supply them with lyrics, but you see it everywhere. Look, I think Genius is when the game moved into streaming, we lost booklets, right? We lost physical and we lost booklets.
A lost art.
But what came with that more than the physical and what it took these DSPs years to realize is that we lost metadata. We lost credits. That means all of a sudden, yo, listening to Illmatic, like or MOP,
or Blueprint, Jay-Z,
right? But me knowing anything that DJ Premier produced, Eddie Sancho would mix. That's a booklet. Like, how do you find that no more? Those relationships,
facts.
like just reading the thank you notes. That's how I learned who was a program director at Hot 97, or who just seeing who the artists is thank you. You learn who was the important people. We lost all of that with DSPs, and what that is context to our culture and how our music is made. So with Genius, we wanted to, one, not only give you the lyrics, right, but also give you the metadata. There's a bunch of metadata fields in Genius to make sure that people get the proper credit. So yeah, I absolutely think we influence the DSPs and media in general to just put more of an emphasis on the creation and the intention behind the art. You know, another thing that I say is another reason why I left MTV, because I felt like I wasn't doing music journalism. I was doing it started turning into celebrity journalism. There became a time when everybody in the music space, in the hip hop space, started following the TMZ model of journalism, and that just never interests me. Like, I'm sitting across from Ross. I don't want to ask you who you dating. I don't give a fuck.
Gossip,
like, bro,
yeah.
like, yeah, it just didn't. I didn't feel comfortable doing that. And Genius, I think when I went there, and with the intention was to really speak to these artists about their music and the lyrics. I once saw T.I. T.I. was promoting an album, and he did an interview at Hot 97, and the interview was an hour long. And they spent 5 minutes talking about the music.
Everything else was about what
Everything else was about, the family hustle, the tiny, what's going on with this. And that's not a knock against Hot 97. That's what the viewers want. Like, that works for them. But that shit just made me sad. I'm like, yo, this T.I., like, when we put it down, like, T.I. is one of the greats.
Not facts.
Like, how you sitting in front of T.I.? I got too many music questions. I remember one time I was going to interview 50 Cent, and I had a bunch of music questions for him. And
You just
my
said that like that
my
was
boss
nothing.
at the time was like, nah, don't ask him this, don't ask him. X'd out all the music questions. And I'm like, but ain't we a music magazine? Like, what are we doing? So I wanted to put more of the emphasis back on the music. So not only with these platforms using lyrics, I see now a lot more interviewers doing emphasis on the music and moving away from the TMZ model. And I think that's a genius influence as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm being real.
Nah, you know what? That might be
I think that got a
that
lot to
might
do
be
with like rappers sitting
subconsciously. That too, it might be a little subconsciously where I'm at with it too, because I hate the gossip shit like that. I tell him all the time, this is not Shade Room. I don't want to talk about Shade Room shit. And when I have artists over here, I'm asking them music questions. Like, we had Siegel over here the other day, and I was just asking him questions about Once Again It's On. What I'm asking questions about Reservoir Dogs. I'm asking him questions about Feel It in the Air. And the thing when you ask artists those questions, they not just gonna break down the song and the lyrics. They're gonna go into the time of their life, where you're gonna get all that extra shit anyway, but it comes in the context of a music question, because that's the base. You feel me? So what you said is
like I want to hear
alongside.
Siegel now talk about, because I've interviewed Styles and then I've interviewed Jada separately about Reservoir Dogs.
We did too.
Cause what Styles is doing on that, I don't give a fuck who you are. So fuck who you are. I don't care about your pretty bitch. Watch your car. Cause that shit is hard. Like, that shit is
Siegel,
crazy.
Siegel said that's his favorite verse on Reservoir Dogs.
Styles said that's his favorite
But
verse.
Styles is shooting at home.
Yeah.
Like, so I want to know Siegel's perspective. That means when they was on that record, they was going at each other.
We got the perspective.
Yeah, that's
Gotta show it to
amazing.
you.
That's
We got it. I asked the right question. I got the nod from the interview guy.
I love that.
I got the nod from the interview.
But we need that. Like, I remember interviewing the Lox. One of my favorite records is Biggie and the Lox. We'll see.
Well,
So Genius, we did a breakdown on it. This is even before we started Verified. Before, like, line by line breakdown. We just. Or maybe we have Verified, but I don't know. I just interviewed them about We'll See. And what I didn't know, and what I had never heard before, was them saying that Big was shooting at them on their first collaboration. Again, it goes back to that thing, right? Like, as an MC, you know what it is. So Styles, I was like, Big was shooting at you. I've listened to that record 1,000 times. What do you mean? Styles was like, you didn't hear the record? Niggas talking it, but they ain't living it. Like, he was like, he's talking about us. Like, because they was talking all that fly shit in their verses, and he knew that we just got on. We ain't really have paper like that. But that competitive, like, I'm like, how can I sit with the Lox and these are the stories I want, right? Sitting with Jada and asking him, yo, I know there's a version of Victory where it's just you and Big, because you wrote Puff's verse, so you laid down the reference. Where's that at? Like, I need all that to be asking him some dumb shit.
Facts.
About who, like, you know what I mean?
Facts.
So that's always been my aim, man. Like, I've never been a fan of the gossip. Like, I feel and look, the audience loves it. Like it also kind of comes down. You don't want to be the hater, can't knock the hustle, but I feel like my role in this is different. My role in this is our music is too important. You spend you might spend, it's a little different now because the output has to be quicker, right? But an artist might spend 8 months making an album to do an hour-long interview and get asked for it for 5 minutes, and then everything else is like that. That shit feels like a crime.
It is a crime.
I was thinking about Bob Marley, right?
Right.
Where's the Bob Marley music interview where he's really breaking down? Like the media wasn't as big as then. There's not a lot of shit out there like that. Like, so, all right, so who's on new Bob Marleys? Who's on new, like, you gonna miss that chance to ask him about this music that's gonna live forever in favor of some bullshit? Come on.
Who was the first person that took you from just the writing aspect of journalism to the video?
Sway. Sway was, yeah, that was Sway.
I knew that.
That was Sway and Ramon Dukes. Shout out to Ramon Dukes. But, you know, I went to MTV to be a writer, and look, I'm a hustler, man. So it's like, always in my career, my shit was like always over delivered. Where's the bar? Show me the bar. All right, we going over that. When I got to MTV, they hired me and they said, listen, we need you to write 4 stories a day, 250 words at least each, 4 stories a day. That's the quota we need from you. I was writing 7. I was at 4 by lunchtime. Like, it just like ask Ramon, like ask Rebecca Thomas, like my shit was just different. I was like, oh, this easy. And they didn't even all have to be interviews. They were like, yo, you could repurpose some shit that, you know, if somebody says something in XXL and just turn it into a news article or whatever. But we just need 4 good stories from you a day. So I was doing 7. I didn't know Sway. I had met Sway briefly once before that, and then, but in being MTV, my first couple of weeks, Sway comes through the hall. We talking about rap. He taking my lunch. It was like really like motherfucking Sway will come and take a sandwich off your desk, and you couldn't do shit about it. Yo, can I have a piece? Yo, like, cause that's Sway. What I'm gonna do? I'm here like a week. We debate about rap. He dish you. He'll throw some shit at you. But at the time when he started throwing shit at me, I started throwing shit back. I was like, nah, fuck that. If you gonna snap, we can snap. Yeah. So something happened, and Sway was like, yo, I like you. And he was just like, yo, he had told me within 2 or 3 weeks of getting there, he was like, you gonna get the opportunity to be on camera. I don't know how. I can't tell you how. I can't tell you when. But you're gonna get the opportunity. Be ready. And the only thing I'm gonna tell you is when those lights come on and that camera comes on, the same person you are now, make sure you're the same person when the camera's on, and you're gonna go far. And I said, bet, and he stayed true to it. He gave me some opportunities. He definitely threw me to the wolves a couple of times. Like he put me in a fight. One time, my first interview I did on camera was with Lil B.
Shout out to the baby.
Shout out Lil B, and it was dope. A lot of people congratulating me. Everybody on MTV, oh my God, this shit's so amazing. Sway let me have that. Everybody was shouting, yo, you killed it. Sway was like, yo, you feel good? It was like 2 days later. You feel good about your interview? I was like, yeah, man. He was like, good. You should feel good about it. Now, you ready to hear everything you did wrong? Like, and that was the realest shit. I said, and I was like, yeah. Yo, your posture was fucked up. Yo, you was talking to him like you was on the stoop. You got to command it. Your voice got to be this. You got to sit up straight. You got to da-da-da-da. And he broke down everything that I did wrong. And that was the most amazing shit because he didn't yes me to death. I feel like the second on-camera interview I did, it was early, it was with Our Future. It was with all 10 of them.
I remember that.
It was with Rat Fix. And Sway, for whatever reason, had something else to do. He didn't want to do it. I can't speak for him. But he called me maybe a half hour before, yo, you're going to host Rat Fix today. And it's all of Our Future. And you remember, they were wild.
Wow.
Earl had just came home. And so I said, all right, bet. So I'm ready. And what I had asked the producer was like, well, let's bring them on one by one. Let's bring on one. Let me speak to them a little bit. Bring on another one. Because I knew, I was like, I got to establish a rapport. The producer was like, nah, ain't no time for that. We got to start right now. They started me with all 10 of them on set. They killed me, bro.
I already know.
They fucking killed me. Like, and me and Tyler was cool. Like, you know, it was kind of an act.
Brain Haji, that's a good bunch right there.
So then we used to have this segment called Get in the Game where we used to take a young rapper and show them to whoever the guest was. They'd watch the video and then they give the rapper some critiques. So me knowing it was our future said, yo, let me show them somebody so dope that they can't front on. Who did I show them?
Who?
Joey Badass. He was still in Murrow. He was still in high school. Joey Skyped in, I feel like, from his gym class. You know what I'm saying? Like, this how early it was.
Crazy.
Yo, they started roasting Joey. Like, they didn't take... And it wasn't because Joey shit wasn't dope. The video we... Survival Tactics, as we showed him and Steve's. I'm like, you can't front on this shit at all. That record actually samples, too. I told you, my grandmother's brother, my great uncle Willie Bubble. Yeah, that's one of his samples. Yeah,
Survival Tactics.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like, that's how
Full
ingrained
circle.
the shit is. But they started dissing Joey, and Joey is Left Brain is dissing Joey. You know, Tyler was like, this shit was aight. Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't no Grizzly Bear. I like to listen to Grizzly Bear. This shit was aight. Left Brain, and then Joey throwing it back. Fuck you, man. Give me some beats or shut the fuck up. Da da da. They going back. This shit was off the rails, B. It was like, and it was embarrassing, but it was a moment. And again, that was Sway. Sway threw me that alley oop. He's like, look, I'm gonna give you the opportunity, and then you figure out what to do with it. So that was a big learning lesson too.
That's
that
crazy.
Day, yeah.
And that's a moment because look at where all those guys are.
Look at Joey now. I know. Shout out to Joey. I feel like Joey was mad at me.
Why?
Because I think he felt at the time. Me and Joey are excellent. I think he felt like maybe I tried to set him up. Or he felt like maybe it was a setup at the time. Like we tried to ambush him, and it really the opposite was just like, okay, this is our future. I got to show them something so dope that they can't, like, how could you possibly front on this shit? And it backfired. But it was a moment, yo.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yo, what's your favorite posse cut of all time?
Ooh. Damn, I ain't.
We've been asking everybody this question.
Wow, that's a good question, B. I'm gonna have to go Scenario 92. Probably. Yeah.
That's different.
That beat was fucking stupid.
Doom 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 doom.
That was stupid.
But just like that, I remember just my mother coming home with the maxi single cassette Scenario, and on the flip side was 92. That's up there. I'll probably go with that, but that's a tough one, man. You might ask me on another day, I might change my mind.
Yeah, but that was dope right there. Because I never heard that.
Yeah.
Now, we started, you started as an MC, went freelance and got into the journalism thing, ended up conquering that. And then you go back to MCing. You let some horns off. So, what was your thought process getting back into that? Because you was going to get a lot of scrutiny from everybody. You know what I mean? Especially the people that might have not been in your favor. Right? So it was going to be a tough crowd, whether it was amazing or it wasn't. You knew it was going to be some people that was just going to hate just because they could.
Who still do.
Right. So getting back into being an MC and putting out projects by your name, you know what I mean? How did that come about?
I had always been MCing. I had always running around the city. So people who were kind of outside seen me, whether it was like battles, outside, in front of Fat Beats, open mics at New Eurekan Poet Cafe. We used to do that, running around, like I said, with my man Shake, the J Hatch, and all these different showcases. Smoking Numbers was always on the bill, and we'd have to go after them. Hard act to follow. But even when I'm freelancing, I'm on the blogs, because I didn't. Once I started getting in as a free, I didn't think it was nothing wrong with rapping and doing the journalism. And then what I had found out was it was frowned upon. Like, they saw it as a conflict of interest. A lot of people told me, nah, don't do that. Nah, you can't do that. You know, so people knew, and it was weird to me because most journalists either rapped or DJ'd or produced at some time. So I'm like, why y'all mad at me? This was all of our dream. I'm just look. There was a time that being at Double XL, I was on the blogs as BK Cypher on Now Right on Too Dope, and it wasn't like I used that. Like Mecca and Shake just started posting me as BK Cypher, not knowing that I worked at Double XL. It wasn't like a quid pro quo, whatever the fuck you call that. Daytwan had noticed and was like, yo, this you? And he pulled up a picture of me on That Right. And I was like, yeah. He was like, yo, you kind of nice. He was like, yo, that's why your interviews be so good. He was like, yo, I think you relate to artists in a different way because you at least, you know what it's like to create. So Daytwan was supportive. I didn't feel like everybody at Double XL was supportive. There was a time when I was told, like, on the low, I had to make a decision. Like, I was given an ultimatum, like, out of it, you can't rap no more because they saw it as a conflict of interest. They was going to fire me behind the shit. And I was like, well, the rap ain't making no money. I got 2 kids now. And Double XL, again, remember I told you I went to Harris for $35,000, still making $35,000. I think they bumped me up to $45,000 at one point. But I was making more money. I bought a house with me and my wife while I was working in the mailroom. During my time at Double XL, I was struggling to keep up with the mortgage payments. I had to refinance. Like, I really took a step back. But at the same time, that was still bringing in more money than rap. Right. So when I got that ultimatum, I was like, man, I just got to let it go. Shake, Shake, one of my best friends. Shake made a diss song about me. Like,
get the fuck out of here.
That's my man. He's going to laugh when he hears it. Still my man. It wasn't dissing. But, again, yo, I'm talking to you. Like on some, he just started talking about, damn, like, my man, and he gave up this shit. This the shit we really supposed to be doing, but he gave it up to do this shit. Da 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 da. Like, he gave me like a spec. Like, yo, bro, like you gonna stop rapping? Are you crazy? Like, and Shake gave me that talk. Look, we was partner. I knew he was pointing out the record, but when he played it, I'm like, yo, you really shot at me on the record. Let's go. But I put it down because I was like, well, if I have to choose, and I thought it was frowned upon, it was like whatever. And then when I got to the point of 2017, what happened was, in 2016, then I'm on the Breakfast Club promoting Genius shit, and Charlamagne was like, yo, I love your story because you show these kids that not everybody has to be a rapper. You could be in hip hop and do different things. And then Charlamagne goes, Rob, thank God you never used to rap. Like, thank God. You never used to rap, did you? And I was going to say no, but then I thought about Shake. I thought about my man Lou. I thought about people that I grew up with. I'm on the biggest platform in hip hop.
Right.
And the people who know me for real, like, I'm going to get up there and lie and act like I never used to do it when I did, and it was like a big part of my life. So I was like, nah, actually, I used to rap. Oh, man, fuck out of here. Spit something. Like, Envy was like, yo, you remember your first rhyme? I was like, I don't remember the first one. But I was like, I just wrote one last week because I never stopped writing. So it was spit that. So I spit that a cappella. And then, I was with Hovain.
Shout out to Hovain,
and Hovain was like it started picking up, and people started killing. Mike text me, he was like, yo, that shit was dope. I see you, King. Like, it was certain shit. And me and Mike are cool, but we don't have like that relationship like that. So when Mike texts me, I'm like, oh shit. And Hovain was like, yo, you want to put out a record? I think we got a deal. And he put me over with Empire. And I did my first record with Empire, and I was at Genius at the time. Yeah, shout out to Ghazi, shout out to Nima, man. I was at Genius at the time, and what it was I wasn't scared no more. I was scared to lose my job at Double XL. By the time I got to Genius, I'm like, yo, I'm Rob Markman. Like, my shit is solidified. Like, I don't give a fuck when anybody has to say, with all due respect to Genius. And I sat down with the owners and said, yo, this is the move that I'm making. I didn't ask permission. Hey, this is what I'm doing. I just want y'all to know. And they was like, oh, shit, yo, we love this. Like, hell yeah. And they were super supportive. And yeah, I just got so good in my journalism career. I'm like, who gonna kick me out now? Who gonna fire me now? Like, and so it was that confidence. And I put the first record out, and the rest was history after that, man. And a lot of hate. But it was a lot of love too. It was a lot of love too. It was a lot. It got a whole lot of love.
Cause I as soon as you put the first joint out, I know I text you like,
yeah.
Let's go.
And the funny shit, shout out to Rook from the Justice League. My first single ever, I Don't Want to Wait. First of all, I'm coming up on the 5-year anniversary of me dropping my first project on July
shit.
28th.
Oh shit.
So I'm planning to do Write the Dream Part 2 on the 5-year anniversary. But what happened was Sky Zoo had a record that he did with Apollo Brown. And he wanted me, there was a guy that I was cool with that he wanted to feature on. And at the time, I'd say it was Euro Drew wanted to feature, and so it was like, I was working with Drew a little bit, so he was like, I tried to reach out to get Drew on the thing, but it just didn't work out. But I had the instrumental, so I was writing to the instrumental, and that's the rhyme that I spit on the Breakfast Club, and it was part of me I wanted to ask Sky, like, yo, let me jump on that. Like, I got a verse. It's crazy. The verse is hard. But I was like, I can't do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was going to look at me crazy. But I had this verse, and then, Sky went out and put the record with the, on his Apollo Brown album, amazing record. It was a Jordan and a gold chain. And then, but I hit a Rook from the Justice League. Yo, just send me a beat. I got this verse. I want to put it to this beat. Can you send me a beat? And Brooke sent me some beats, and then that ended up being my first single, and I just built upon what I already had. You know what I mean? So, shout out to the Justice League. That was cool, too. Like, they believe they ain't have to. They come like, fuck out of here. What you mean a beat? Motherfucker, these shits go for 300,000 or whatever it is. Like, have you heard Maybach music 1 to 100? You know what the fuck we do? Fuck out of here.
Right.
But shout out to Rook, man. They show love, and that was my first single.
That's tight. That's tight. So,
Rob is ill.
No.
You know the first time I seen him?
When?
I think you took me to Genius. Wale was doing an album release.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Wale
Wale
joint.
joints.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
No.
Was it for Sean now?
No,
it was earlier than that.
It was because we did a Shine one, but Shine we
might
did.
have been Shine.
We did the Shine album
I
release.
think
It was Shine
Shine.
album release.
Yeah,
It was a Shine album release. It was.
Good project. Good project. I remember going over there with Harry Fraud too.
With
did
Fraudy.
something for Genius.
Yep, because Fraudy lived.
Not too
He
far
was
the
from
spot.
right around there. Yep. Shout out to Harry Fraud. Shit, I remember when y'all came to MTV too.
Facts, me and Fraudy came to MTV too.
You were we had the show at MTV Rap Fix Live.
Fix Live.
You was on the last episode.
Yes, I was.
You,
Legendary.
Dame. Yeah, man.
Legendary shit. I remember coming out the Viacom building and TMZ was following me and Dame. It was a good time.
We didn't know at the time it was the last episode. MTV pulled the okie doke, pulled the rug. I was like, we didn't know it was the last episode. We would have really, really, really done it.
I gotta look that up. That's a great grand finale though.
Yeah,
Fuck, Dame was on that joint.
Absolutely.
One time,
So,
let the horns off for that.
we got some history, Smoke.
Yeah, now we got a lot of history, man, and it's still going. And
Yeah.
damn, I see why you left and went to the Knicks because my boys took that fat L just now. God damn it, the Knicks. But it's okay. No Julius tonight. We play hard.
We would have took the L even if Julius.
Nah.
We act like Julius makes
Spin move,
makes
Julius.
Makes a big difference.
Dribble off your foot, Julius.
All right, so let's Knicks and Nets, right? Because I know you to be a Knicks fan. My whole time knowing you.
My whole life.
And it's been a lot of stress us being Knicks fans. And then the Nets moved to Boston. Initially, you was a little on the fence about it. It was
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
I feel like that was Harlem
Next
sneaky
moved to
hate.
Brooklyn.
I feel
What
like
you
that was
just
Harlem.
said?
He said the Nets moved to Boston. I feel like
I
that
know.
was,
I said Brooklyn.
No, you said
You
Boston.
said Boston.
I said Boston. I
Yeah,
said Brooklyn. I
fucked
said
me
the
up.
Nets
I
moved
was
to
just like,
Brooklyn.
what?
I said Boston.
We gonna rewind it.
Don't
I feel
Damn,
like
I'm
that was a
high.
Harlem shot.
Nah. You know why we feel that way? Because everybody from Brooklyn stopped fucking with the Knicks after Brooklyn made the joint.
I mean,
was at the Barclays
Nah, but
yesterday,
it makes
that's
sense. Pawn self. The Nets moved to Brooklyn. I don't know why I
know what
have
I'm
Boston in my
talking
mind. Right. So the Nets moved to Brooklyn. At first it's a lot of people that's like, guys like Hovain is like, let's go. Yeah,
Hovain was right on. They had Hovain's picture in the Barclays.
Yeah, he got the Brooklyn
tattoo.
tattoo.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm like, fuck out of here, Hov. Right. So everybody is like, they converting, and then the big gather with the Kyrie and
Facts.
Kevin Durant.
Facts.
And then it's like, all right, you know what? I'm sick of this shit.
I
I'm
get it.
actually from Brooklyn, so I
I
could be
get
a
it.
Brooklyn fan. This is you, because I'm from Harlem.
Right.
Make no mistake about I'm from Harlem. Right. So when was the switch click for you to just
It was
be
the
in
2019 season, the bubble season when the Knicks, everybody's trying to make it But just watching, I just wasn't a Julius fan. Julius, it was frustrating for me to watch Julius and Morris run the offense. Like a lot of their plays was behind the 3-point line at the top of the key, dribble drives. Like there's something on YouTube, and I'm happy for Julius Randle that he got the most improved player. You know what I'm saying? Because what he did the next season was phenomenal. But there's like the YouTube blooper reel of just Julius doing the spin move and every time coming off his foot and going out of bounds. It's like 20 minutes long.
He don't do that spin move no more.
Thank God.
Yeah, 20 minutes of bloopers.
But it was that, and I felt, you know what it felt like to me?
What?
Boys in the Hood. It was Trey. Just let me out the car.
I wanted to see where he was going with that.
Just let me out.
I really wanted to see where he was going with
Doe. Let me out, man.
Just let me out.
I respect you on your Doughboy shit. I respect it. Like, I love basketball. I still watch every Knick game that I can. It just became hard to root for the team. I think it's the culture around the Knicks. There was other things that were happening. I didn't like what Dolan was doing. Like, them kicking Oakley out left a bad taste in my mouth. Patrick Ewing, when he came back with Georgetown getting stopped by security. Like, how you don't let Ewing pass? His picture is all up on there. And you don't know who Ewing is. Like, get the fuck out of here. When Dolan kicked the fans out. And then as a Knicks fan, I'm like, yo, every time, and you know this, right? Like, I love to go to the Garden. It's nothing like the Garden. Prices go up every year. We could go 0-8. Knicks could go 0-82. And them prices are going to go up 20%. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was just like, man, Knicks fans deserve more. Now, look, as a Nets fan, it's like, I mean, this whole shit with Kyrie and just the Harden drama and now Ben Simmons, like, what the fuck is going on? Brooklyn ain't, without his drama, and ain't in a much better place either, but I just needed a fresh start, bro.
I feel, I got mad love for James Dolan.
You do?
I got mad love for him. I'm going to tell you why. Because I think it's a misconception. And shout out to James Dolan and the Garden. Right? Shout out to James Dolan and the good people at the Garden. Right? Because apparently, I don't know, maybe I led a negative narrative to my friends over there because I got this song. It's a title to a song. I won't even say the title to bring more attention to it because I would like to be on Celebrity Row. I like to go to the Garden, right? And it's...
Wait, but you had 96 Knicks?
I had a lot of great songs. Yeah. But apparently, when I was being brought up to the people at the Garden, they kind of didn't look at that, and they looked at this one mixtape title, right? It felt like I was taking Oak's side over Dolan, and I was just being a rapper, and I bleed the Knicks. And it's like,
blue.
I'm orange. I'm still here, y'all. Don't do me like that.
First time,
you know what I mean? They invited me and kind of rescinded my invitation a little bit. I feel
first time you said no was like you never said yes.
Yeah.
Where's my camera? Which one? Man, if y'all don't make it right with Smoke DZA, I'm telling you this right now. It's gonna be another 20 years of losing. I'm telling you right here. If you look at Smoke, this is the key to your success. This is a true Knicks fan. And this is why I can't fuck with y'all. Y'all don't treat the fans right. Come on. Yo, the next day after they pushed Dolan kicked those fans out, and one of the MSG representatives texted me and was like, yo, come to the Garden. Yo, season ticket packages. We could customize a package. He's trying to sell me a package. I'm like, nah, I seen what he did to those fans last night. I'm good, man. Like, I ain't, it was like the next day. I'm good.
But today I think they got better. They got World Wide West over there. We got a different slew of guys over there. So I'm gonna say.
How that Sunshine Anderson song go?
Heard it all before.
Heard it all before.
Heard it all. But I'm just saying. I'm saying. I mean, I'm still.
New York deserves it more. That, like, come on, man. Like, the most loyal fan base in sports. Like, they win a playoff game. They win a double overtime opener against Boston, and there is a parade on 7th Avenue. There's a championship parade.
It was a celebration. It's been a long time since we had that feeling.
Shout out to my man Kazim, man.
Yeah, shout out to Kazim, you know what I mean? He's over there at the Garden, actually.
Yeah.
He's doing amazing commentary work. And I see you at Wale Mania, you know what I mean? If I could fucking get there, because apparently I have a complex show that day, and I'm trying to change my shit. I'm double booked. It's all bad.
Sound like a good life. Huh?
You fronting right
so
now.
bad.
Fuck out of here.
Nah, I'm really disappointed because I'm like trying to figure it out. I'm trying to do like,
Smoke Dizza couldn't be here with us tonight. In this place, we got Rob Markman, the musical styles. You know, just let me know.
That nigga crazy.
man, yo, I don't know, man. I might need a replacement that day, man. I can't miss Wale Mania, man. I don't know. What's up, show? You got anything for me?
Also, real quick, what might could bring me back to the Knicks or would have made me stay?
Let me hear this.
I performed in Barclays Center. And they were so nice and welcoming. I got to spit these exquisite, very illustrious raps in Barclays Center. I never got to perform at MSG. I had to go where the love is, baby.
That's amazing.
That's
you know,
it.
I love
Damn,
what
you
I love what the
touched
Nets, I
Barclay?
love
That's
what the
crazy.
Nets do for homegrown talent. You know what I mean? People that's actually from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn,
They actually,
yeah.
You know, the Nets
Yeah,
actually showcase them.
Shout out to Logic. I came out. Logic sold out Barclays, and I came out.
You can. Oh yeah.
And my sons got to see that. I made sure my sons had seats
That's
so they could
bucket
see
list
that.
shit.
Man, that's good.
Just so they know they could follow their dream. You know what I'm saying? And this shit could really happen. And you know, Barclays. Like
Was that your first tour, like official tour?
Nah, that was just a one-off. That was just his New York date.
Didn't you do?
I did. I didn't end up doing the dates because but I got added to Royce and Premier's Prime tour. Shout out to Roy. Shout out to Preem. Shout out to Ian. Yeah, man. Shout out to Roy. Shout out to my man Keno.
Oh, yeah, I was just talking
Yeah.
to Keno once. I was just about to shout Keno out. It's crazy.
Shout out to Keno. But I was doing some of the dates, like the East Coast leg, and then but that tour had got canceled because unfortunately Primo's dad had passed. That's around the time Primo's dad had passed, so they had to reschedule it. But the fact that they even thought of me and were willing to take a chance on me was amazing. That's something I'll never forget.
It's tight. That's
Yeah.
tight. That's tight. What's up? You got to shoot the 5 for me?
You said we don't do Shoot the 5 no more.
I said that?
Yes, you did. I could bring up the episode where you said stop doing Shoot the 5. We not doing that no more.
Damn. I said that, Physics?
I don't know.
All right. Nah.
We not doing that.
All right, cool. If I said
We
it,
not getting into POW though, right?
Nah.
Nah, not for Rob.
Fuck with that shit. Yo.
Whatever y'all want to do.
Nah.
Yeah, Rob. Nah, we ain't gonna. Nah,
I can't come here and not.
Yo, come on, Rob.
When you
Rob, come on.
All right, go ahead.
You got a POW for me? Cause you watched the show. You know what POW is.
nah.
over
I
here.
didn't see the PL. You gotta give me a primer.
Oh man.
Let's go.
Rob, I don't know if this is good for your career.
All right, I play a little stupid music.
All right, I done stepped in some shit.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead.
All right, listen, man. We do a segment called Porn Star of the Week, right?
Okay.
Right. So do you have a Porn Star of the Week for us?
Current?
It don't matter.
Legendary.
Legendary, your favorite of all times. It don't even matter.
Oh,
We about to get a Rob Markman POW.
Yeah,
nigga.
we
Fuck
are.
is you
I
talking
thought
about?
this was pressure.
No, it's not getting right in. Yeah.
The hardest part is choosing which one.
Oh wow.
I'm trying to think.
Come on, niggas is out here. POW,
Yeah.
anything.
I got some classes. I don't know.
My man said I got some classics. Well, I got some too. But we.
I've
need
been.
more.
I don't know.
What's the first one coming to your mind, man?
I've been on a Scarlet Scandal
Scott.
wave lately, little slim joint, but she's
Nah,
dope.
Slim, yo.
She's dope. Yeah.
Slim chicks, that's all pussy. Niggas be sleeping on that and she ain't got the buns, that's all pussy, my nigga.
Yeah,
And no disrespect, we can bleep that out if Rob don't want that in there. But listen, that's
I didn't
all
say it.
Journalism 101.
I didn't say it.
Legendary spin.
As they
That's
should.
all vagina.
Scarlet Scandal.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's weird. You probably ain't never heard that one. Listen, it said Scenario 92 and Scarlet Scandal. Motherfucker came up here different.
Scenario 92 was a curveball. I didn't expect to hear that
I didn't
one.
expect that neither.
I know. Maybe Scenario 2000. I'd have been like, okay, yeah, I remember Scenario 2000. But Scenario 92, that fucked me up. But Scarlet Scandal. See, I don't really know anything about these people. I only learned them when when he says the name and I look at the pod and they have like the picture flashing and who she
Yeah.
is, and then it's like, okay, cool, Scarlet Skin, great.
If we could do shoot the 5, I got 2 if you got 2. I got 3 if you got 2.
Yeah, because I was about to say that's bad math.
Yeah, that's mad. I got 3 if you got 2.
All right, go ahead.
Whatever y'all want to do.
All right, you go first.
All right, so you know, we gonna bring
We need
this
this
back
real
for
fast
you.
and we out of it. Don't
So
worry about it.
shoot the 5 is basically, you know, we say a name and you say the first thing that come to mind when we say that name.
Okay.
That's what shoot the 5 is. Go ahead, shoot your 3.
Sway.
Brother. He's
Vanessa,
also a legend, but that's my brother, man.
Vanessa from Double XL.
Tenacious.
Very,
Tenacious.
very. I got my last one, but you go with your 2.
Daytwan.
Brooklyn. All day. All day. All day. That's my brother.
This is good. I like this.
Go with your one and I'll come back with mine.
Nah, I'm gonna
I
tell
already
you.
know
You know
where
what
y'all
my
going.
last one
I already
is?
know where y'all
It's a cheat sheet.
Oh, it's a cheat sheet. You're a bum.
Nas.
That's my Nas. Lyricist.
Rob Marksman.
Oh.
It's Markman, not Marksman.
Nah,
nigga.
Yo, everybody says Marksman.
Everybody says-
Yo,
Nori started
bro,
Marksman.
I know
Fuck,
it's
man, that shit
Marksman.
just
I got
annoying.
it written in my.
that shit
but
just
it's-
burnt my soul. I'm like,
Yo,
oh,
what he getting mad for? People do that. We do this to everybody.
that's like a nigga that hates
Listen,
smoke D's up. That would
Everybody
piss
don't
me the
say
fuck
that to
off.
you.
Nah, Nori started Marksman, and I think Nori really thought that was my name, because you know Nori would do everything. He's like, because I'm dyslexic. Shout out to my
That's
brother.
his cheat
Shout out
sheet.
to my brother. But Nori started Marksman, and actually that's one of my drops. Like on one of my records, I got a couple. I got my Right to Dream. That's like my Maybach music. When it's a harder record, it's, man, you fucking with a Marksman. So it's
So,
like, yeah,
it
yeah,
works.
I've adopted.
Leave me
that.
alone.
I've adopted that.
It works.
But Rob Markman, right? Shoot the 5. Go.
I respect this shit. I respect this shit.
Hey, look, man.
I know. Yo, when I seen him at Wale joint,
Yeah.
I was looking. That's funny. And we ain't even getting into this. I was looking at that man. I was looking
Right.
at you. I see how you work the room. I'm like, damn. Everybody know this nigga, but I didn't even know you worked it.
Yeah, nah,
Fucking
yeah.
Rob Marksman.
Thank you.
Yo, Marksman, nigga. Listen, I get everybody's name wrong. I'm one of those too.
It's all love.
Niggas a meatball sub.
I've adopted it, man.
I call Arabelle Annabelle.
Oh, her name was Arabelle?
Her name was Arabelle. And I said Annabelle.
Well, she
And she
knew
said,
what you
thanks
was
for
trying
the
to say.
shout out, but that's not my name. And never answered me again. Sick.
Well, she answered you the first time, so that's good.
Nah, that wasn't good enough.
I mean, shout out to the Astor Club. I was there earlier. They got me all this Moonbow shit. I was smoking some Cash Street shit. I had my left eye twitching. It's a $2,000 zip for
Oh,
it.
that's why you ain't passed that over to me?
Nah, that shit been gone. I smoked that shit before I even got here, blood. You ain't have to worry about that. And for your latest high fashion, my personal drop sponsor, www.thesmokersclub.com for all your high fashion. I haven't done that in a while. I have to plug that in there. I got a cool fucking guest, so I know y'all watching. So it's like, boom, put that there. Maybe we can have something pop up like boom, and just, you know what I mean, work on that.
He
physics.
talking to
You
them
good at
niggas.
that, yeah. That's what I'm talking to. But anyhow, usually you, not even usually, you're a walking gem, and you're a vessel for insight, inspiration, and jewels. And a question I ask all our guests before we end the interview is, what is a gem for anybody chasing their dream?
I think the biggest gem is to believe in yourself and eliminate self-doubt. Like, nobody is going to believe you if you don't believe in yourself. It has to start with self, and then you just keep pushing. Like, everybody ain't meant to see it at first. I mean, Jay-Z says he got turned down for every record deal and started Rockefeller. Smoke, you've been through your ups and downs of just finding kind of where you fit in. Like, every success story is a hurdle. So, believe in yourself and keep going and don't fold. You know what I mean?
BK shit. Heard you.
From the legendary BK Syph.
Word. now they gonna start Googling that shit. A lot of me, yo, what was your original rap name? Like, I don't want anybody to find any of that shit. You know what I'm saying? But
I knew.
But Smoke knew you was around in those days.
Word,
man. Like I said, we smoking numbers, hard act to follow.
Man,
Yo, we gotta go on after them.
Yo, and that's the Flatland days when Poison Pen was in there.
Poison
running,
Pen.
You know what I mean? Running shit. Shout out to Poison Pen.
Yeah, shout out my man Poison Pen.
My brother, thank you for passing by. This is, like I said, this was on our whiteboard of a list where it was like, I got to get my weight up before I can get certain people, and you were a part of the certain people list.
Facts.
Needed your respect, kid.
And it's a personal check off our list, off our bucket list over here at the personal party to have you here. So
Nah, that's love, man.
For real.
I'm glad to be here, and I'm proud of what you're doing, and you found this space to expand upon what you do, not just as a MC, you know what I'm saying, but just as a person in this culture, man. You show us what clothes to rock, you know what I'm saying, really fucking cool. I remember you had your own rugbies when everybody's doing t-shirts.
that's a fact.
You doing rugbies, like you always is just something
Facts.
new and different. It's something to expand your brand. So this is just dope for me to watch, man, and I'm a fan of it. You know, and I like to see you just shining and winning, yo, for real.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. It means a lot coming from you. And a part of my next slew of things on my wall is my show and prove article.
Dr. Dre cover? That
The
was Dr. Dre with chest cover?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I still have that issue.
I still got it. Fucking, I had all the rugby set out and all that shit.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Steve-O, you know what I mean? Because he was like, nah, you got to do it like how Teaser would do it. You got to come with all the rugby, surround the whole room with rugbies. And that's what we did, and you gave me that shot. So
It was well deserved. You created that opportunity, man, for yourself, man.
Thank
Like,
you,
I believe
brother.
that. You know what I mean?
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yo, what's that stupid shit you say, man, before we leave?
Yo,
man?
listen, man. It's curls for the girls, waist for the babes, and that's for the hood rats. Show Broadway ho. We got Rob Markman and this
Facts.
motherfucker. BK Cypher, you heard? Smoke
Facts.
Dizza, personal party. We out of here. Cheer.